Hey guys, we're here at Maguire's MotorEx in Melbourne. It's currently day 2. Day 1 was massive. The cars behind me there were Unveil. I've got my little trade stand just over there. There was a huge line of people all day long. Really awesome atmosphere, great vibe. Anyway, I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna show you some of the cars. Some of my clients' cars, and then also show you some of the cars that have really stood out to me. Try and give you a little bit of info on them as well. Hopefully you enjoy.
All right, we'll kick things off here by taking a stroll through the Street Machine Hall of Fame. It's a brand new feature this year inside the aptly named Street Machine world. They pulled together a bunch of iconic cars and magazine heroes from over the years, including the current Street Machine of the Year, Heath van der Warden's Tirana hatch. Heath's not only a mate, he's also a client. We helped lock in his colour combo and a few other design choices, so seeing his car on display here is an absolute buzz. Right next to him is the legendary Leader 8. Bit of a throwback for me, back in the day when Heath and I were young blokes kicking around on the GMH Tirana forums. Howard Bell, the owner, used to talk Tiranas and offer advice with us. It was so cool and it was such a big deal to us. Now, I'm going to be jumping around a bit as I was filming between chats at my stand, so apologies if the footage gets a little bit out of order. Just trying to show you as much as I can. Here's a 1953 pickup built by the crew at South Coast Customs and Fabrication on the Gold Coast. It's owned by Rolling Customs. We actually did the renders for this one a couple of years ago. Seen in the flesh now, it looks incredible. Most of my clients are interstate or overseas, so often I don't get to see the finished cars in person. But this one on display here, it's absolutely awesome to see. Here's another one from Rolling Customs, also built by South Coast Customs and Fabrication. It's a 1959 Chevrolet Apache. Again, we did the renders on this one a while back, and now it's all finished and on the road. I'll drop a link in the description to South Coast Fabrications and also Rolling Customs. Both top blokes, heap of good guys work up there. So if you're into American trucks, they're definitely worth a look. Quick walk around now through the Street Machine World Hall. Jason Evans' stunning home-built FJ Holden Special. This 64 Ford 427 Thunderbolt, covered in vintage decals and signage. Such a cool vibe. A tidy 34 three-window coupe. Great to see a few of these hot rods at the show again this year. A VL Calais, packing a nice Holden V8 instead of the usual Turbo 6, so that's a nice little change up. There's this gorgeous 66 Mustang Fastback, built by Old School Restos. It's got the Eleanor feel with its own custom touches. Overall, a super neat build. This next one is Lucas West's VL Commodore. You might have seen Lucas's purple HZ Ute renders we did for him recently and shared on our socials. This VL is his current project, and it's definitely his most sentimental. He's had it since he was 18. He and his wife used to take the kids out in it, and he was telling me it's absolutely jam-packed with memories. Getting it to MotorEx was a massive goal for him, and he pulled it off, and it looks absolutely amazing. Another local from Gippsland is Adam Horline and his VH Commodore. Adam's actually keen to get some renders done of this build soon, but for now, he just managed to get it finished in time for MotorEx. And man, it looks fantastic. I'm also a huge fan of his display. It looks like it's straight off the Holden Motor Show stand in 1982. Awesome job. Stepping outside for a look now at some of the real street cars. First up, my mate from East Side Cruisers, James Mackey, and his XY0 LS swapped Falcon drift car. Check out his YouTube channel, it's an absolute weapon. Each day outside at MotorEx brings a fresh batch of cars. This year the weather was perfect, and it's always really cool seeing all the cars roll out at the end of the day. Now here's one close to my heart, a 2015 Craig Lowndes Edition VF Commodore. Back when I worked with Holden, I helped design a few pieces on this car. I always love spotting these out in the wild. I've actually created a poster of this car, which you can grab from my online store. I'll put the link in the description. Next up, Ben Crawley's Chevy Hauler, the Tow Pig. Ben bought this brand new last year and sent it straight to Southern Rod and Custom for some upgrades. We helped him design the tray, flares, front bumper, and just the overall look. It's super tough, and it's also super practical too. Back inside the Street Machine Hall, it's now the evening of day one. I finally got to walk around and check out some of the Unveil cars. First up, former AFL star Charlie Dixon's HX Holden U. It's running a billet blocked turbo 3.2 litre RB30. Check out his channel Driving with Dixon if you want to learn a little bit more about it. Nigel Constable's Evil HG was one of my favourites. Built by Rise Up Restorations, it copped a ton of attention. The colour under lights was unreal. Then there's Ben Fink's 68 Camaro. We helped with the renders with this a few years back. Now, I might be a little bit biased, but I reckon it was one of the best builds of the show. Cleaned up with the awards and even qualified for Superstars next year. That interior, unreal. Brent from Brent Parker Motor Trimming absolutely nailed it. I told Ben over the weekend that the car is so dialed in, it could easily hold its own in the central hall at SEMA. Another standout, Roscan Gemi's 67 Alpha. Built with mixed customs restorations and a big design hand from Aidan Donald. It's a 2-litre, 4-cylinder screamer, making around 220 horsepower at 7,500 RPM. And it just looks like an absolute blast to drive. Now, onto another client, Ricardo Marks, and his 1985 Fat VK Commodore. It's an elite level build, but Ricardo's building it to drive and drive hard. After summer nuts, he's putting it to work. Now this one made me do a double take. It's a 2-door Falcon hardtop built by Dino Pietrobon. He used a 66 Fairlane roof and stretched the doors to give it a factory Ford coupe look. And judging by how many people didn't even notice it first, I'd say he nailed it. Here's a 1965 Chevrolet C10 pickup, built by Shane Rowe and his team at Southern Rod and Custom. I first saw this truck at their shop a few years back when I was there discussing some projects, and I instantly fell in love. Shane and the crew up there build some of the absolute best cars in Australia, and this one's no exception. It's timeless. And this next one, Hostile, a Holden HT Monaro, another standout for me. White with a subtle pearl through it, black GTS stripes, black World S71 wheels, and a deep red interior. The whole thing was sensational. Super tastefully done, and definitely one of my favourites from the show. Now, the last of my client Unveil cars is Craig Goodshaw's 1969 Camaro SS. This one's been a long time coming. Craig was one of my earliest customers, and I think the first renders we did was about 6 years ago. He made a promise to his family that he was going to unveil this car at MotorEx one day. And now, 13 years later, he's done it. It was actually the first car unveiled on Saturday afternoon. He kept it under wraps for so long, and honestly, the final car looks so close to the original renders we did back in 2019. But the standout for me was the AMG Mercedes interior, dash and all, that's seamlessly integrated into the Camaro. And to top it off, Craig's now been invited back next year to be part of the Maguire's Superstars. Speaking of Superstars, let's go for a walk through that haul. First up, James Bullion's Mazda R100 Tuck and Low. We did a heap of renders for this car before the build, and even created a digital turnaround for his Motec dash. The screen wasn't on when I filmed this, but we designed that too. At the eco end of the haul, where all the green cars were grouped up, Mark Borowicz's LH Tirana, Jordan Lord's ProPrem HQ Holden, the JR GT350 Mustang by Automotive Creations, another Automotive Creations build, a Holden HG Premier that turned lots of heads at Summer Nats this year. The colour combo on this one is super unique. I love how they tied the interior and exterior together. Another Tirana sedan, this one built by 310 Autosport. Beautiful combo and nicely executed custom interior with custom dash and console. I also love the travel suitcase in the boot too. And then a stunner of a Tirana hatch, built to an insane standard. With the iron line proudly on show under the bonnet. Peter Fitzpatrick's legendary FC Holden was also there. He was chatting with folks, so I didn't want to interrupt to get the video. Matt Smore's Wild VL that debuted at Summernats, which is actually now this month's Street Machine cover car. I'm obsessed with the interior on this one as well. Looks awesome. Another sharp 34 hot rod. The Ford F100 by Viking Hot Rods, still looking as fresh as it did at last year's MotorEx. Killer color combo on this one. I love it. This 1957 Chev in bright orange was an absolute standout. Then we had the HTKO Monaro by ProFlow Performance. This build was insane in the best way and cleaned up across the board. Frank Zamet's 1969 XWU, also by ProFlow, certainly matched that energy, and even took home the Grandmaster trophy for the event. We also saw Street Machine legend Ron Barclay's Plain Jane Camaro, and V8 supercar driver Cam Waters' XB Falcon. We helped with the renders for Cam's build too. We helped him lock in the colour and wheel combo. It's running a full supercar spec engine and it sounded really angry as it rolled in on Friday on bump in day. finally, the reigning Summer Nights Grand Champion, the late Sam Fennick's awesome LJ Tirana.
All right, guys, so that's pretty much MotorEx done for 2025. It's been absolutely huge here. I thought I'd give you a quick run around of what my stand looked like before I close out for the video. So, got my DeLorean here, lots of fingerprints all over it from everyone walking past. So, wondering if it's stainless steel or not. That's just the DeLorean life, fingerprints everywhere. But it's all good fun. It gives lots of people lots of joy looking at the car. So, I've got all my Back to the Future merch and paraphernalia. I can't help myself. When I see stuff, I just buy it. I can't help myself. The car's drawing a lot of attention all weekend. And then this is my trade stand here. Got my digital display, just flicking through some of the renders that I've done for various clients to chat through with potential customers here. Also got a little configurator of my car that I was showing people as well to show what we can do. So yeah, that is MotorEx done and dusted for another year. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and let us know in the comments as well if you like this sort of content, because I'm happy to do it at any car shows that I go to. Thanks again, and we'll hopefully see you in the next one.